This week on the Georgia State Sports Update, we're talking men's and women's golf and Georgia State football. Hi again, Panther fans, and welcome into the Georgia State Sports Update. We're talking women's golf here at Georgia State in the opening segment. Pleased to be joined in studio by Kathy Mant. She's in her 17th season as the head coach of the Georgia State women's golf team. You've been here almost as long as I have.
I have
If
been.
not, you're catching up.
No question about it, and I've loved every minute of it.
Let's talk about Georgia State women's golf right now. You guys have already competed in 3 events this year. The first one, you tied for 7th in Louisville, Kentucky at the Louisville Fall Kickoff. Tell me a little bit about how the team played coming out of the offseason and what it's like going from the offseason and preseason practice, golf preseason practice, into that first event.
Well, it was a little crazy this year because the tournament was on September 6th, so school had just started. Some of our kids were in summer school and didn't have a chance to really compete and work on their games this summer. I thought the girls played very, very well. It was a 36-hole day, so that really was an awakening for us to get started, and I thought they did very well in the first tournament.
Came back and competed in the USA Intercollegiate hosted by the Jaguars of South Alabama. Finished 5th at that one.
Yeah, we're trying to improve each event, and we had some personal bests down there at that tournament. June Bay had the best rounds that she's competed in, the best tournament in her career as a senior. And so, we feel really good about things that are happening in our program.
And finally, the third tournament, and there's another one coming up. We'll tell you a little bit about that, but 19th up in Greenville at the HERRMANN tournament this past weekend, the Lady Paladin Invitational.
Yes, we actually started out very well. We had some goals of shooting a team score of 300 and being in the top 10. This was a very, very strong field and a good one for us to kind of get a measure of what we need to do for the rest of the year. We had a really tough day the second day, and the third day, our freshmen had a 1 under par 71, followed with JEMIMA GREGSON in 76. So we had a couple good performers. Suffered a little bit with the rest of our team, but we are just in the early stages of implementing a new system, a mental management system that we're working on the golf course, and I think we're going to see some great things come from this by the end of the year.
We're going to talk to JEMIMA GREGSON here in our next segment, but for the second year in a row. Now, last year she was your outstanding freshman. You got another one this year. What do coaches always say? The greatest thing about freshmen is they become sophomores.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Jemima is just a wonderful person as well. I mean, we feel so fortunate. We've got a great group of girls on our team. Jemima has a tremendous amount of talent. She hasn't reached it yet. She's playing very well. She played #1 for us this past year, but I'm excited what the future has for Jemima. She's a talent. Keep your eye on her.
Again, a well-balanced roster. You've got 6 of your 8 girls from Europe or Korea. You've got England is represented, France, Spain, Germany, and Korea, and then Buford and Lawrenceville.
How about that? I think it's wonderful to have such a great balance with our team. From kids, they learn so much from each other, and it's just kind of fun to see the friendships that have developed, and hopefully lifelong friendships that they'll go away with and love Georgia State every minute.
What's coming up next on the schedule tournament-wise for women's golf at Georgia State?
We actually are leaving Saturday for Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville's hosting an event and playing at a golf course called Marsh Landing, which we played last year, so we've got a little history playing it. I'm thrilled. I think we're going to have a really, really strong event.
All right, appreciate you coming in, and always great to catch up, and we'll be following Georgia State women's golf down in Jacksonville.
Thanks so much.
All right, I want to thank Kathy Mant coming in. Again, her squad just back from Greenville, South Carolina, competing in HERRMANN's Lady Paladin Invitational. We'll take a look at some of the highlights. Our reporter Dominique Regalado reports from Greenville on women's golf.
Hello, my name is Dominique Regalado, and I'm here following the Georgia State Lady Panthers at the Lady Paladin Invitational Golf Tournament. This is one of the most prestigious golf tournaments in collegiate women's golf, with winners including Nancy Lopez and Dottie Peppers.
The Lady Panthers got off to a good start on Friday with a number of pars and birdies despite the challenging course.
And the big challenge is the greens. It's very undulating greens, difficult cut. You have to have a good plan, but a great golf course for college women's golf.
It's been a pretty good season with the Lady Panthers thus far, and we are looking for a strong season.
We just had a great weekend with an outside consultant that helped us with our mental thought processes and how we're going to practice. It's going to be interesting to see how it all comes to fruition. I'm excited about this year.
From Herrmann University, I'm Dominique Gregolato for GSU Sports Update.
Thanks, Dominique. And we're joined in studio right now in our next segment by one of the members of the Georgia State women's golf team. That's JEMIMA Gregson. She's all the way from Bristol, England. How did you find Georgia State University from Bristol, England?
Well, I chose it very specifically. I had a lot of details I wanted to cover. I wanted to be in somewhere where it's warm so I can play all year, 'cause obviously the climate in England isn't very great to practice all year. Obviously we've got all year round sports. I chose my coach really specifically. So many great things I heard about Kathy, and she brought so many great girls out of here and have a career now. And she has so much experience and done really well in her career. So also one of the reasons.
With Coach Matt, we were just talking about HERRMANN Pritt-Carr and the transition that she made going from high school and playing golf and playing Division I college golf. How much of a transition was there for you coming from England and playing over there in the school system there, and then coming over here and playing Division I college golf? Because not only are you transitioning, just with the game, you're transitioning, coming across the Atlantic Ocean and getting adjusted to a new city and academics as well.
Yeah, sure. From doing like a student athlete kind of perspective, it was quite easy because I went to a school where I had to study and play golf at the same time, and I did roughly the same amount of hours of practice as we do now. Obviously we're away for a bit longer in the tournament, so it's harder to catch up with classes, and it was hard to move over here at first, but I'm loving it now. It's the best step I've ever made.
All right, now I'm told Dean's List, fall 2015, spring 2016. As I said, you got the academic thing down. How has that been for you, balancing as a Division I college athlete here in the United States, being a college golfer, but also knowing that you've got the academic side to handle as well?
Yeah, it is a bit of a stress when you're away at tournaments and you spend a lot of hours on the golf course, but it's manageable. You just have to make sure when you're on the golf course you're really specific and you're spending your time in that. And when you're studying, you just have to put all your time into that and not be distracted.
Well, as I mentioned, girls from a number of different countries, France, England, Spain, Germany, Korea, 2 from the United States. I mean, it's a collection that comes together and has to compete as a team. What's the chemistry like when you bring so many people together, or 7 or 8 people together from that many different places?
I think it's so interesting. I've learned so much about all the other cultures and their countries, and it's really nice to have a broad selection of girls and it's all not to be in the same area. We all get on so well. The chemistry this year is really good, and I think from that we're just playing better golf, and we're a good team together, and we'll only get better.
Last question: what's one thing that you like most about living in Atlanta and going to school at Georgia State, and just being in the city?
I love having everything accessible to me, and I love the Mexican food here.
All right. Well, appreciate you coming in, and best of luck the rest of the season with women's golf.
Thank you very much.
All right. We want to thank JEMIMA Gregson from the Georgia State women's golf team coming in for a few minutes to talk to us about Coach Matt and her coaching style and how this golf team has done so far and is going to do the rest of the season. Now, on the other side, we're going to talk to men's coach Joe Inman here in just a moment. His team just back from Scottsdale, Arizona. They were competing in the Maui Gym Invitational. in studio here in the Georgia State Sports Update. We've talked women's golf here at Georgia State. We're going to switch gears, talk men's golf, and we're going to talk with the head coach, Joe Inman. And Coach, great to have you here. You had a busy off season playing, not coaching, and I'll ask you about that in a minute. But your team's played in 2 tournaments so far. You guys hit all the rough spots, Kiowa Island, South Carolina, and you just got back from Scottsdale, Arizona. How's the team looked through the first 2?
Well, they're great kids. They've had good moments. They just hadn't finished the deal yet. I think we have a good team. They just have a lot of things they need to learn to be able to put it all together. We've had a tournament record, school record forever in the first round at Kiowa and then down. And we had a good, decent first 2 days in Scottsdale, then down. So they've got to learn how to finish. They've got to learn how to think about the right things. They have a lot of talent. We can be good. We've got a lot of work to do, but we can be good.
Well, you know, I don't play golf. My roommate, Mike Holmes, does and talks about it all the time. I'm Mr. Top Golf. I've been there twice. But that's golf, though, isn't
That's
it?
golf.
You can come out and you guys went 18 under par in the first round, and you come back the next day, it can be a totally different golf team.
Well, that's golf. I mean, you see this on tour. In college golf, you see this. You know what I mean? Their emotions, their hormones, they're young, they just don't know what to think about sometimes. I mean, when things start going this way, it can go good.
Yeah.
But boy, when they start going this way, they don't know how to stop it. And that's what you learn on tour. You learn how, when you've hit bad shot and then you hit another bad shot, how to stem. You cauterize it, you put a little styptic pencil on it, and you don't bleed to death. In college golf, sometimes they just bleed to death.
Well, I guess that's where coaching comes into college golf, or really any golf, because if you look back, this Georgia State men's golf team's qualified for 3 straight NCAA regionals. So obviously, whether it's been a good start or a bad start or a good round or a not so good round, you've managed to corral this golf team and get them in the right direction when you've needed to.
And that's what it's all about, is to help them learn how to deal with it themselves. When you're in baseball, the manager comes out, you can bring in the right-hander, you can bring in the left-hander. In football, you have offense and defense. In basketball, you call a timeout. In golf, there is no left-hander, no right-hander. We don't have timeouts. You got to keep going. And that is difficult, to keep that train of thought for 4+ hours in a row and stay on task. It takes a lot of learning. And you see kids, I mean, Smiley Kaufman's on the PGA Tour. He didn't play hardly at all at LSU till his junior year. He had to learn how to stem the tide when he started playing bad. What do I think about? How do I practice? So that's what we work on all year. We are not as good as we're going to be. We have a really talented team.
Coach, we've got about a minute. Timely that you're in here and we're taping this show this week, the passing of Arnold Palmer. And I know that you had a number of interactions, with one of the greats in the entire game.
In my mind, there'll just never be another one like Arnold. He went to Wake Forest, so I went to Wake Forest. My freshman year was the first year of the Arnold Palmer Scholarship. So I played with him when I was in 1970 in the Masters. I'd been on the Walker Cup team. I got to play. He walked up to me on the practice tee on Tuesday and said, would you like to play a practice round? And that's where you really learn the nexus of the word choking, because I went, and I just literally, my throat closed. I just couldn't get it out. And I saw him over the years. He came back to school. I played with him on the senior tour. I played with him on the regular tour. And if they ever made somebody who owned the room, that man owned the room. He had an aura. He had a personality. He had a goodness of heart. And he loved golf. And if you've ever gotten Arnold Palmer's signature, all those tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe even 1 million, because he signed so many autographs, you can read, he made it his purpose. Arnold Palmer, I can do it, the way he did it, and you can read it. If you get Tiger Woods film, you name any of these young kids, you have no idea what that thing is. Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, people from my generation, you can read their signature. And he thought it was very important to be very specific and make it personal and right so that you felt like you had him for that, 2 seconds, 3 seconds?
Yeah.
But he did that millions of times.
Yeah. Coach, great stuff. Great having you in here. Best of luck. We'll be following the men's golf
Thank
team
you
as the
so
season
much.
moves along.
Yes, sir.
All right, I want to thank Georgia State's men's golf coach, Joe Inman. Always great to have Coach Inman in studio. Coming up after this brief timeout, we're going to talk with one of the players on his team, and that's Alex Herrmann. Joining us right now on the Georgia State Sports Update, we're still talking men's golf, and we're joined in studio all the way from Munich, Germany, although he's been at Georgia State now a few years, Alex Herrmann. Alex, great to have you in studio, and we were just talking to your coach, Coach Inman. 2 tournaments so far, Kiowa Island, South Carolina, and all the way out to Arizona. How'd you perform, and how do you felt you played in those first 2 tournaments?
Well, personally, I thought I got off to a good start in Kiowa. First day was really good for me. Kind of what I was expecting. After a good summer, I practiced a lot and felt good coming into the season. So I got off to a good start, wasn't able to finish the deal, finished 3rd, which was pretty good to start off. And then in Arizona, unfortunately, my game was a little off. I had a lot of schoolwork to do before the tournament. So I kind of fought into the tournament and still managed to shoot 2 decent rounds. I was 1 under, I think, top 25 going into the final round, and conditions were tough on the last day, and I fell back a little, but still finished in the top 3rd of the field. So overall, I think it was a good start for me. So just trying to keep my head down, keep working, keep improving, get some good results, and see where I end up this season.
A lot of good things for Alex since he's got to Georgia State. 2016 All Sun Belt First Team honors. That's on the golf course. At the same time, President's List honors all 4 semesters you've been here. So when you talk about balancing the athletic side of your commitment and the academic side, you've been doing really well.
Yeah, well, I mean,
as hard as it might be.
It keeps you busy. As long as you communicate with your teachers and do all the assignments, you should be fine. And then basically some days you just have to skip practice and study, but I think there's enough time to practice and work on your golf game as well. Yeah, I think that's just what I do, and I got away with it the first 4 semesters and finished well, so I'm kind of happy.
So it's not just Alex that's here, but you have a twin brother, Max, who is on the team, the golf team, and here at Georgia State with you as well. You know, that's kind of an interesting experience because you obviously you're not by yourself, but you've got your twin brother here. Talk a little bit about the dynamics of that.
Right. I mean, it makes a lot of things easier for me. I always have somebody to talk to, and we're actually rooming together, so yeah, we organize everything together, kind of take the same classes, so that makes it a little bit easier for us. But he's a really good golfer too. Had a great year last year, won the Sun Belt Conference Championship as an individual. And yeah, I think he didn't get the start he was looking forward to this year, but I think he's going to improve and be a big part of the team as well. And I think we are hoping to go back to region, maybe nationals together, experience that together. And so far, it's been a great journey for us.
How was it that you came to find Georgia State, not only academically, but from a golf standpoint, from Munich, Germany?
Well, Coach Inman does a great job on recruiting, and he flew over all the way to Great Britain, where we played one of the big junior events in Europe. And I think I lost in match play at some point, and that was the point when he was allowed to talk to me, because coaches can't talk to players when they're still in the tournament. So luckily I lost that match so that he could talk to me, and yeah, we kind of went from there and figured everything out, and that's why I ended up here. And obviously, I liked the program a lot. He had a lot of good things to offer. Great coach, great teammates, so I'm really happy to be here.
All right, Alex. Well, it's great having you here. A great addition to Georgia State, not just academically, but athletically, and continued success. We'll be following the team as the season moves along.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, again, want to thank Alex Herrmann from the Georgia State University men's golf team. Also, thanks to Coach Inman for coming in studio. We're going to take a brief time out. On the other side, we're going to talk Georgia State football with head coach Trent Miles.
It's a new program that's doing it the right way.
The sky's the limit for this program.
It's just been amazing.
This is a brotherhood. They're going to push us to our farthest limits.
They're just constantly on us, and they want the best out of us.
We wouldn't have it no other way.
You'll be able to set your own record and start your own tradition, so why not be part of something great?
I knew it from jump. Winning seasons from here on out. This is where I needed to be.
It's a different kind of program and a different kind of team.
I take a lot of pride in my coach.
It's a way of life. You don't remember all the scores and all the games, but you remember all the people in that locker room.
It's not just football. You're spending your life with these people.
It was an experience that I'll never forget.
If you want to be a part of that, that's what college football is all about.
And it lasts the rest of your life. That's the best stuff about football.
Joining us right now here on the Georgia State Sports Update. Here in our final segment, we're talking Georgia State football. Panthers coming off an off week on the schedule, getting ready to open play in the Sun Belt Conference. Going to head up to Boone, North Carolina, take on the Mountaineers of Appalachian State. Joined here by head coach Trent Miles. Coach, great to have you in studio. And off week came at a good time. Team played a really, really good football game up at Wisconsin. Didn't get out of there with a win, unfortunately. But again, the off week at a good time as you get ready for Sun Belt play.
And it's going to get some of our guys back healthy. You know, McKindy's going to play this game. He'll be a little limited, but he's back and working his way back in. Shawanye Lawrence be back from his knee injury. Andrew Everett be back. He'll be limited, but he'll be back from his leg injury. Penny Hart will be back from his hamstring injury. So, you know, it helps to get the 4 or 5 starters back in the lineup, but we've got to go play a very physical game for 4 quarters and execute extremely well. So it won't be easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it'll be fun.
I guess, Coach, we're not going to talk about Wisconsin, but all the guys that you just mentioned that were out, most of them on the defensive side of the football, just goes to show how much improvement there is on the defensive side of the football, because without those starters, still played a whale of a game against the number 9 team in the country, and hopefully that will carry over now into Sun Belt play.
Well, you know, we're going to have to play together. We're going to need everybody, and it's great to get those guys back in, but it was also good to get guys like Terry Thomas a lot of reps in the game. Clifford Amazan played in the game, made a tackle.
Right.
So there's a lot of young guys that stepped in, played, and that's only going to benefit them in the future and for this environment that we're getting ready to go into. The teams that we've played so far, all combined for a 10-1 record.
Yeah.
So it's not like we've been out there playing some Bush League teams or schedule fillers, things like that. It's we expect to win every game we play in, and we've had a rough road, but we've made it a little rougher on ourselves than we needed to, and now it's time to get healthy and go out there and compete well.
Well, coming out of week 3, right before the off week, out of the Wisconsin game, Bobby Baker, who's been a leader since he transferred in from UAB, Sun Belt Conference Defensive Player of the Week. He just continues to play really good football.
Yes, he's going to have to play a big game this week because of the way they run the football, and then they play action you. And that's what got us last year. They came in and they threw the ball over our heads with explosive plays. So we're going to have to limit what that goes on in the secondary, and Bobby's done a good job of helping get guys lined up, and it's going to have to really be on his game this Saturday.
The nice thing, the last time Georgia State ventured up to the mountains of Boone, played that game in a snowstorm, but I think that was later in the season or mid-season.
It was in November.
It was in November. You're not going to, hopefully, knock on wood, worried about any elements in the game.
There might be rain, but it's supposed to be 66 degrees, so there's no excuses. It doesn't matter whether it's snow or hail or sleet. We should go and compete and play well in any elements, with the exception of lightning.
This is the guy who, at one point, coached on the Green Bay Packers staff in Green Bay, Wisconsin. You've seen elements at all levels.
I've seen snow in football games in college and pro, so it doesn't matter. And again, you just go play. You got adrenaline going, and it's about they're snowing for them too.
Right.
So you've got to go play and not worry about those type of things, and just control what you can control, the way you execute and the way you take care of the football.
Offensive line played its best game of the 3 games so far at Wisconsin, gave Connor Manning plenty of time, well, for the most part plenty of time, and Connor looked like he really got into a rhythm, the best rhythm he's been in his short 3-game Georgia State career.
Connor's a good football player. He just needs more reps. He needs to just keep playing and playing, and that's why we've made the decision to go with Connor. Aaron Winchester's the backup, and we have 100% confidence in Aaron because he's a phenomenal athlete in person. So, you know, Connor just needs reps. He needs to get out there and keep playing, and he'll get better as the season goes.
And I know obviously one thing, and it's at the risk of sounding like a broken record, even though it at times looked a little better running the football. We're going to have to be able to run the football. Looked a little better in spurts at Wisconsin, but just got to get more consistent.
Yeah, the stats don't show the effectiveness of our run game against Wisconsin. We were able to pop a couple runs, you know, nothing major, but, you know, to keep them honest. I mean, Michigan State couldn't run the ball on, LSU couldn't run the ball on them. You know, we were able to put more points on the board and more yardage than any of those teams. So if we just go out and take care of our business and control what we can control and play very physical and execute our game plan, we'll have a chance in the fourth quarter.
All right, I know you don't keep up with individual stats. That's what we're here for. But just talking about Robert Davis overall, and I think he had 8 catches at Wisconsin. He's 1 away from tying Albert Wilson, 2 away from becoming the all-time leading receiver. Again, setting aside, it shows an overall body of work in his time at Georgia State and what he's meant to the program.
Robert's been a starter since the day he walked in the door. And he's a great person. He's going to get a chance, you know, barring any injury or anything, to go on to the next level. And about every team's been in twice to see him already, and he's got a draftable grade. So we've just got to make sure we're getting the ball to Robert, and he'll take care of the rest, because he's been a workhorse for us, and in things that you don't see, you know, in the weight room, blocking, downfield blocking, just all the little things, special teams, and we need more Robert Davises.
All right, Coach, appreciate it. Best of luck. We'll see you up in Boone. Let's get off the mountain with a W this weekend.
Thank you. Really looking forward to it. Just want to say that I'm very proud to watch Will Lutz kick the other night and get a 57-yard field goal against the Falcons. We pull for the Falcons. We've got family that's with the Falcons, but we also pull for Will, and very glad to see him hit that 57-yarder.
Yep, former Georgia State place kicker and punter Will Lutz, now playing with the New Orleans Saints. Coach, we'll see you up in Boone.
Thank you.
All right, I want to thank head coach Trent Miles joining us here on this week's Georgia State Sports Update. Time now to take a look at what's coming up on the schedule. On Friday, September 30th at 6 p.m., volleyball in the GSU Sports Arena. They're going to take on Troy in Sunbelt action. Also on Friday, September the 30th at 7 p.m., women's soccer taking on Troy out at the GSU Soccer Complex. On Saturday, October the 1st at 12 noon, Georgia State football will be up in Boone, North Carolina, going to take on the Mountaineers of Appalachian State, 11:30 airtime on the radio network. Also on Saturday at 6 p.m., volleyball against South Alabama at the GSU Sports Arena. And one event on Sunday, October the 2nd at 1 p.m., men's soccer taking on Pacific out at the GSU Soccer Complex. So that is what's coming up in Georgia State athletics. That's on the schedule for the entire crew. I want to thank head coach Trent Miles for joining us, our golf coaches Kathy Mant, Joe Inman, our student athletes, for the entire crew. We'll see you here next week on the Georgia State Sports Update.